Ashley Cardona is an award-winning executive pastry chef and a lover of chocolate. Today, I talk one-on-one with the chef about what she's whipping up in the kitchen right now for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Pastry chef Ashley Cardona, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. Needless to say, you are a Southern pastry chef. And of course, you have been obviously seen on the Food Network, HBO's Wizards of Baking. And just recently, you were named the SCRLA Pastry Chef of the Year. So tell me, Chef Ashley, what exactly are you whipping up these days in the kitchen?
Yeah, so I was on Wizards of Baking, which was an incredibly fun show, and I was very honored to be named South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association Pastry Chef of the Year. So that was very exciting. Recently, we just launched our spring menu at Circa 1886. So five brand new plated desserts, two for our tasting menu, a brand new souffle. Souffles are our signature dessert at Circa, and so we have a very spring souffle this season with lemon and blueberry. And then we've got a really refreshing menu with a strawberry and cream dessert, as well as a really rich, decadent chocolate and peanut butter dessert, to name a few.
Naming a few. So as you're naming those few, which one is your personal favorite?
I'd have to say the strawberries and cream. So inside, we've made it look like a little slice of almost cheesecake. It has a mascarpone mousse that encases a strawberry compote, and then an angel food cake at the bottom, which is one of my favorites. And then we serve that with fresh strawberries and like a salty pretzel streusel. So I used to have this dish by my aunt growing up. It was like strawberry pretzel salad. She would bring it to every like family meal, very like nostalgic kind of Southern food I grew up with. And so it's kind of that, but in a very refined version.
Which foods growing up that you now are using, but you're putting an innovative twist on?
hmm So I have done a couple different renditions of like Southern classics. That's one of my favorite things to do is to take Southern desserts and turn them into something new and exciting, whether that's like visually exciting or pairing them with a new flavor. So my most recent menu over the fall and winter, we did a carrot cake baked Alaska. And so it had a traditional carrot cake at the bottom, and then I did a cream cheese gelato that was on top with a honey meringue, and then we paired it with passion fruit, and then a golden raisin compote and some cinnamon sauce. So all kind of the flavors that diners are probably used to seeing and eating, but in a different, new, exciting way.
When it comes to circa 1886, and I'm just sitting blocks away from it right here, but what exactly are the diners' wants and needs when it comes to desserts?
Yeah, great question. So we, have two tasting menus and then a small a la carte menu. So we always design two desserts to fit those tasting menus. I work with Chef Mark and work on what's going to be a great ending to that menu and really try to challenge their palate a little bit while still remaining really satisfying. I always try to keep things light and fresh at the end of a very heavy meal and menu. You don't want a huge dessert, that you can't finish.
Right.
Um, and then for our a la carte menu, I like to keep things really playful. I think, people are looking for flavors that they're a little bit more comfortable with because, you're going to spend quite a bit of money on dessert. It should be something that you're really happy with. And so I try to stay with flavors that everybody's, very familiar with or comfortable ordering, but then present them in kind of a new way that maybe they haven't seen before with some different playful textures or combinations that just give that upscale value to it.
And what exactly so far has the diners been happy with when it comes to your desserts?
Yeah, great question. The carrot cake baked Alaska I just talked about was insanely popular. I mean, we sold a ton of those.
Wow.
Right now, the banana cheesecake that's bruleed and served with passion fruit and macadamia nuts on our tasting menu, that's been very, very popular. And of course, our souffles are one of our biggest sellers. We'll sell around 50 of those a night. We fresh make the base every day, and they're made to order during service. So you really literally can't get any fresher.
Oh, you know what? I really want to ask you this, but how exactly are you currently prioritizing actually preparing those desserts by using as many in season and local ingredients as possible?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I work with Grow Foods and get some produce and stuff from them as well. And you know, the volume that we're going through, we're able to kind of be a little more selective in our ingredients and working in fine dining and luxury. I've always enjoyed because you have access to a lot of ingredients that maybe you wouldn't at a lower price point. And so it's really exciting to be able to work with really fine chocolates or kind of be able to pair what goes best in season.
Eh, eh, I want to ask you this too, Chef, but what cobwebs have long distorted the picture of fine cuisine as you know it?
Sure, yeah. I think there's Charleston is it's a great food scene, right? And I one of the biggest reasons I moved to Charleston was because of the food scene. And I think, there's this stigma of white table dining cloths, where it's a little bit unapproachable or it's a bit stuffy or, I don't really like certain ingredients, foie gras or this or that. And, it's sometimes unapproachable for certain people. And I think what Chef Mark and I both do a really great job is taking flavors you are comfortable with or, making those items that maybe seem a little bit off putting or a little bit unapproachable, putting them on a plate that people can really, really enjoy.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to ask you this too, Chef, but look, what local ingredients have actually challenged you the most in the kitchen?
Oh, great question. Since coming to Charleston, I've learned about benny seeds, and those are a really great ingredient. They're so wonderful. I've done benny seed ganaches, benny seed macarons. Incorporated them into the French technique that I have, and I think I've done them on several menus as a little garnish and a tuile, and they just give a really distinct nuttiness
Mm,
that I've really enjoyed working with.
wow.
Yeah.
What exactly is the biggest difference about your technique in the kitchen from when you started your culinary career to right now?
Sure, yeah. So I've kind of bounced around a little bit in resorts and stuff, and so that's really been my niche. I've been able to do a little bit of anything and everything, and so I've really here at Circa never been able to focus as much on plated desserts as I have anywhere else in my career.
Hmm.
And so it's been really refreshing to be able to change the menu seasonally and to be able to have the full creative freedom with creating, a souffle this month and then a different souffle the next month. And so it's been really great to find my personal style because everywhere else I've been, you kind of, are locked into what your members want or what your guests want or this or that. And so I feel very lucky to have found a restaurant where I'm allowed to be creative and encouraged to be creative. And so I've really finally developed a style that I feel like is my own in terms of plating and really kind of has my signature stamp on it. So it's been an exciting journey.
So, who exactly is Chef Ashley Cardona in the kitchen?
Yeah, so I am very passionate about what I do and I bring a love for technique and execution. My desserts are very technical and very detail oriented, but I also don't want to get lost in that. I don't want to get lost in molecular gastronomy. I wouldn't really characterize myself as, a molecular gastronomy chef who's doing crazy powders and foams. And I do some of that, but at the end of the day, I want everything that goes on the plate to taste amazing. And so I want to stay true to what food is and what that dessert should be while being very playful and detailed in my presentation.
What exactly is the state of food as you know it today?
Oh, great question. I think kind of seeing a comeback to classics and simplicity, right? I think the past like 10 years with all the new powders and foams and all of that kind of fun stuff, cuisine kind of went in a little bit in that direction. That was a very hip thing to do. But I think I've seen a bigger return to just what is good food and do it at the finest level, right? If you're going to do a chocolate mousse, what is the absolute best chocolate mousse that you can make and what pairs with it really beautifully and keep it at that.
What desserts do you want to pair with something else these days?
Yeah, so right now I'm working a lot with like local strawberries. I always try to really create a balanced menu. So that way when you come into the restaurant, if you're a chocolate lover, if you love creme brulee, if you love fruit. There's always something for you. And so I'm really trying to create a very balanced menu in our restaurant.
And when you look at your particular menu in your restaurant, chef, which particular menu item describes you? Which dessert that is?
Ooh, great question. I love our banana cheesecake right now. So, I mean, the banana is so simple, right? I mean, banana bread, banana pudding, it's kind of a basic flavor. Everybody's like, oh, I love that. And then kind of just elevating a little bit with bringing in some passion fruit, some macadamia nuts, and then making a really nice dulce de leche that goes with it, and kind of maybe introducing some flavors that aren't southern to a little bit of a southern cheesecake that's bruleed and has that enticing appeal, and then kind of challenging it in a bit of a different way.
Oh man, that's really really amazing
Yeah.
and delectable too. Well, I know you're busy, so I have to let you go. But executive pastry chef Ashley Cardona, thank you so much for your time, and again, welcome to Quintin's Close Ups.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.